What is a dry drunk? In this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly what a dry drunk is, how you can recognize one if it's you or if it's someone else, and what the solution is to being a dry drunk. But before I do that, I have to explain what an alcohol problem actually is. Nobody starts drinking alcohol with the goal of it becoming a problem, right? When we start drinking, we start because we see basically our culture do it, and our culture tells us that it's fun and relaxing and we want to get some of that, right? But over time, something happens, and it happens without us even noticing, where alcohol takes up more and more and more space in our life. And it kind of does this very subtle shift, right? It starts with, it's fun, it's relaxing, it's exciting, but it kind of shifts without us noticing to using alcohol as a way to manage our emotional life. So we have outsourced the management of our emotions to alcohol. Bad day at work, have a drink. Uncomfortable conversation with your partner, have a drink. Kids are behaving awfully, have a drink. Your boss is ungrateful, have a drink, right? These are all uncomfortable feelings that none of us like to experience, and we want to get rid of them as quickly as possible. Now, that is the key bit you need to understand. We want to just get rid of these feelings as quickly as possible. And what happens is our brain begins to make the connection that, well, when I have a drink, these feelings magically disappear really quickly. So our brain is just like, what's the shortest, quickest, most effective way to not feeling this way? And then that becomes habitual. And then that becomes an alcohol problem. When you are using alcohol to manage your emotions, that is the problem. And a lot of this happens because we don't have, and we never learn, the skills to emotionally regulate ourselves. We are using alcohol for emotional regulation. And this is why getting sober is 10% not drinking alcohol and 90% emotional sobriety. If you want to learn, by the way, how to be emotionally sober, there is a link below for a free guide that you can sign up and I'll send to your inbox. Also, make sure you're subscribing so you don't miss a video. So emotional sobriety is about learning the skills of self-regulation. Emotional sobriety is skill-based. It's just simply skills you don't have. Like if you can't ride a bike, once you know that skill of how to ride a bike, you can ride a bike without thinking. You just do it, right? So the reason that emotional sobriety is so important, why I talk about it all the time, it is really learning how to manage your emotions so your brain is not looking for something outside of you to numb these feelings, that you can manage them and you can emotionally self-regulate so you don't need alcohol. And these are vital life skills that every human being on the planet needs. Everybody needs to know how to do this. Some people learn, some people don't. Some people have it role modeled in their families. Lots of people don't. So they just don't. We just kind of muddle along. We muddle along, trying to deal with whatever feelings that we don't like or make us uncomfortable. And you can see this if you look at the world, right? We use food, we use screens, we use shopping, we use all kinds of behaviors to escape feelings we don't know how to deal with. And the thing is, when you learn these skills, the skills of emotional sobriety, it's not that it just keeps you sober, your whole life will go better. You will like yourself, you will feel comfortable in your own skin. Now, let me get to the part of explaining exactly what a dry drunk is. A dry drunk is a common term that is used to describe somebody who used to have a problematic relationship with alcohol, who has stopped drinking any alcohol whatsoever, but hasn't done anything else. All they've done is stop drinking. Their lives are going to improve. That's great, but they're only doing 10% of what is necessary. They haven't done the 90% work of emotional sobriety. So they still can't emotionally regulate themselves. That's the important bit. They're still experiencing all the feelings that they experienced before that they used alcohol to manage, but they don't have alcohol. So they're kind of scrambling around for other things. Again, that's when food, sugar, screen time, gambling, codependency, or anything that is basically a dopamine hit that takes away any of the comfortable feelings. Now, it can also be a dry drunk will often have these behaviors. They can become a rageaholic, someone who's just really angry all the time. The slightest thing sets them off, and everybody around them is walking on eggshells. I'm sure you know the kind of person I'm talking about. Really unpleasant to be around. They can be full of self-pity. They can have like lots of what sound like to them very reasonable and justifiable stories as to why nothing goes right for them and why life sucks and why it's not fair and why they're misunderstood and etc., etc. And self-pity is very unattractive. And I'm sure you know that kind of person as well. You may have even been that kind of person. I know I was at one point. Or they can be very, very controlling. They can be quite passive aggressive in their controlling. Passive aggressive is when someone never directly says how they feel or what they think, but it's very clear to everybody what they feel and think. So they can be very controlling in controlling others and very angry and upset when other people don't do what they want them to do, controlling their environment. Like and that comes from a very faulty belief is of, if I can just like, if everybody just does what I want them to do, everyone's going to be happy and then I'll be fine. If everyone's happy, I'll be fine, right? So again, really unattractive and really unpleasant and awful to deal with. And what this is they are looking for outside fixes, something outside of themselves to fix how they feel inside. And that is the biggest and most fatal mistake because it doesn't work. Those fixes are only temporary or very unsatisfying. There is only one answer to how we feel, and that is self-emotional regulation, which again is skill-based. You can learn how to do it. If you want to learn how to do it, make sure you grab my free guide below. And people can carry on this way and, the people who have to live with them and deal with them, it's not fun. Or they'll find another substance or pick up alcohol again because it's just a horrible way to exist in the world. It just eventually becomes intolerable and you are desperate to have relief from yourself. Or that, which was me, I got to such a painful place and I was 3 years sober that I got the gift of desperation and I did the work of emotional sobriety and my whole life changed. And it was just skills I didn't have. Communication skills, being able to deal with people's skills, being able to say what I meant skills, being able to kind of cut through all the stuff that was unnecessary, having clarity of vision, having boundaries, being able to manage uncomfortable feelings and know that I would survive them and that they would go and that there would be actually a lesson in the experience rather than just running away from them and repeating the mistake. This is why sobriety is 10% not drinking alcohol and 90% emotional sobriety. If you're not doing that, you're missing out on so much. Grab my guide and let me know what you think below.